Hey guys, hope you guys are doing great today. Let me get my ears on here to make sure we get some decent sound. Let me get my ears on here and get going here. Wasn't prepared to have you guys see me so soon. There we go. All right. We have a little sip of my coffee first. Anyway, guys, this is Coach Bill with Fat Loss Made Easy. Hope you all are having a great Friday so far. Today is normally our date night, but we have a couple of twin granddaughters that play softball at Viola College, and they have two games tonight, 4 and 6. So we're gonna stay home and I'm gonna barbecue some food for Emily and have our date night here at the house, watching the twins play softball, which is really what we like to do. So guys, today I want to talk about a subject that is pretty bad. There's a lot of misconception about the lifestyle that Emily and I teach to clients. The high fat, low carb meals and combining it with either intermittent fasting or alternate day fasting. So you guys know that today is Friday, so obviously, those of you who follow me, this is my non-fasting day. We both, Emily and I, do a high-fat, low-carb meals, and we combine it with alternate day fasting. And one of my favorite snacks in the afternoon is my fat coffee. And today's fat coffee has heavy cream in it. 2 tablespoons is what I like to put in it. It gives me the flavor. It's almost like candy to me. It's like a dessert to me. So I really look forward to it. Sometimes we'll go to a special coffee shop we like to go to in Old Town Temecula. They do a latte with heavy cream in it. The only issue with that is it's got a little bit too much heavy cream in it, and so it kind of does affect my stomach a little bit. But doing it this way with a couple tablespoons in my 8-ounce glass of coffee, it's a good way to get me some of that extra calories I need on my non-fasting day. But today, guys, the topic today is about it's high-fat, low-carb meals versus health professionals. And at the end of it, I have T2D, which means type 2 diabetes. And that's the topic. If you guys notice, I've been posting a few more articles about type 2 diabetes and reversing the root cause. And I've been doing a few more videos about that because in the last year, probably year and a half, especially in the last year, type 2 diabetes has escalated. Just in the last couple of months on these type 2 diabetic groups that I belong to, I'm seeing 3 to 4 new diagnosed people on them who have just been diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. They're running scared and they're looking for advice on what to do next because the doctors or the health professionals just aren't telling them what to do. And the biggest issue is they're not explaining the root cause to their type 2 diabetes and why they even got it. I'll ask questions when somebody pops up on one of these groups and are looking for answers. And one of the first questions I ask is, does your doctor explain to you what the root cause is to your type 2 diabetes? And what kind of a nutritional program did he put you on? I would have to say 9 out of 10 of them will come back and say he never mentioned anything about the root cause. And all he said was look up a nutrition, find a nutrition, or he won't say anything. He just says we need to get you going on the diabetic medication, which is common. And when I refer to a health professional, when I'm talking about type 2 diabetes, I'm mainly talking about doctors. I don't want to always say doctors, so sometimes I like to say health professionals. Now, I'm not saying all the doctors are giving the wrong advice. I'm just saying most of them are. There are a few that I work with here in Temecula that actually promote the high-fat, low-carb diet and meals, and intermittent fasting to help their patients, and they're doing it under the radar. And the reason for that is because obviously it's not medicine. And of course, the AMA wants you to prescribe. You guys have been to the. I mean, how many of you guys have gone to your doctor to, in the old days, you could sit there and spend a half hour to 45 minutes describing your issues. Well, now what you do is you sit in front of him, and he's in his computer like I am here with you, and he's asking you questions about your symptoms. He's punching them into his computer, and there's actually an app in there that tells the doctor what medication to prescribe. I'm sure you guys have seen that. So we've gotten away from the traditional natural way of treating diseases like type 2 diabetes or fatty liver, obesity, and many others as well. But what I want to do today is, in the last 2 days, I have had up to 8 people, maybe even more now, I think it is, who actually told me that their doctor, when they were diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, and they mentioned that they heard a lot of good things about a high-fat, low-carb diet and intermittent fasting to help lower blood sugar. And the doctors right away, without any explanation, because they don't have one, they say, no, it's not safe, or no, you shouldn't do that, you can't do it. And of course, these people aren't educated. They're in shock. They have no idea they even had type 2 diabetes or a fatty liver. So obviously they're in shock. And so what happens is they don't know, they're just following their health professional's advice because they don't know any better. And there's not enough of us out there that are getting on the internet or they're getting on social media and reaching out to these people and explaining to them, you guys have to take your health in your own hands because the health professionals out there have a motive. And they don't have time to investigate all the new research, so they're sticking to their old ways. And besides, a high-fat, low-carb diet and intermittent fasting is an old way of treating diseases. It's been around for 2,000 years. And so when these doctors say that it's not safe, and that's these 8 people that I talked to that were told their doctor says absolutely not because it's not safe, well, they're wrong. But they may be right in a sense if you do it wrong. If you do the ketogenic, what they call it a ketogenic diet wrong, or you jump into it blindfolded. There are steps you've got to follow. And even though it's very, very hard to cause any issues, you still don't want to take the chance. You want to follow, you want to find a coach that is educated and is using the ketogenic diet or intermittent fasting for his own clients. Or a doctor. There's many, many doctors now that have completely changed their health platforms to treat type 2 diabetes or fatty liver or obesity naturally. I mean, there's more and more and more coming on board, which is great, but there's still a lot of them out there that won't even look at the evidence and how it works. And so that is what we're trying to do here. For the last couple of years, we've been working with type 2 diabetics. We've been working with people with fatty livers. And I personally have logged in and documented my own clients' results. That way, I have the documentation, because remember what I like to say? Documentation will always overrule conversation. And so I have my own documents with pictures of blood sugars dropping, of actual doing blood sugar readings with my clients and showing the improvements. I actually have clients that have been taken off medication by their doctors because they are no longer type 2 diabetics. And how we do this is not only do I document their results, and I have them send me pictures of not only their blood sugar readings, but their ketone readings. I also have them document it too and date it and time it. and show their doctors, because their doctors need to know so that they can start weaning them off of the medication. That one thing you don't want to do, obviously, is stop cold turkey on your medication. You've got to go, you have to go to your doctor and try to explain to him, I'm going on, I've seen the research, I've seen the videos, and it looks to me like this is the type of a program I need to follow. And this is where those 8 people come into effect, where their doctors said, no, it's not safe. The sad part is that they are giving you bad advice, wrong advice. They don't understand how it actually works in reversing the root cause of type 2 diabetes, which is insulin resistance, because they've never done it themselves and they've never done their own research. And what's sad about it is in their own research site is the actual research, okay? And you guys know that I like to put the research that I find in my YouTube channel. If you go to my YouTube, you type in Bill Mabry, subscribe to it, and this will be uploaded to YouTube. And in the description section, I'll have a couple of these case studies. These are some of the recent ones I just found, and I wanted to go over them with you real quick. So these doctors are saying, these 8 people's doctors were saying that the high-fat, low-carb diet and intermittent fasting is not safe to do for a type 2 diabetic, and that's not true. And there's in the nutritional and metabolism journal, and this research was done a few years ago. Now these are actual scientific journals. They're in an abstract form, which proves that they're actually published on a medical site. And this particular one took 28 overweight participants who had type 2 diabetes. These were males, and they went through let's see, how many weeks? They went through a 16-week trial, and they put them on of course, they documented their blood sugar before they even got started. They documented their weight before they got started. They did all the clinical trial stuff that they normally do. And now what they did was, it was a 16-week trial. So over 16 weeks. Now, I tell people that if they really want to see results, they have to do it for 60 to 90 days strict, and then set a goal for 6 months to 12 months to continue doing it. And the 16 weeks just alone, in that short of time, according to this research, it determined that each one of them lost an extremely amount of body fat, and they reduced, or they lowered the A1C, or their blood sugars, down to a normal level. And it said here, let's see, how many of them? 15 of them got completely off the medication in that short of time. Now, what made that research so successful in a short amount of time is because it was a clinical trial, and they were being monitored all the time and kept accountable, and so they were consistent with what they were doing. Now, all they were doing was just a high-fat, low-carb diet. They weren't even combining it with intermittent fasting, which actually escalates or accelerates lowering blood sugar. Also, their triglycerides dropped, and their bad LDL dropped also. So that was this one here. The next one I have here was done by, let's see, what was it done by? By Nutrition and Diabetes. And this one was done in 2016. Remember what I said, that the 8 people that I was talking to, they said that their doctors said it wasn't safe. Well, this actual clinical trial research was actually to determine how safe. Now they're calling it a ketogenic diet, a low-fat or high-fat, low-carb diet. Technically, is a ketogenic diet, which is the scientific name for it. And so this particular research was done just for that reason, to see how safe it is over a long period of time. And this particular research, they took 89 men and women. Their ages were between 30 to 65 years old. They all had some degree of type 2 diabetes and were overweight. Now, most people that have type 2 diabetes, not all, you could have type 2 diabetes and be thin, but most of them are overweight, which is one of the root causes why they even have type 2 diabetes. Now, this particular clinical trial went for 4 months. What they saw with the ones, what they found was that there was a large reduction of weight, which in turn, and there was a reduction in their circumference of their waist as well, which means their belly fat. Now, due to the weight loss and the fat inches going away, that obviously had an effect on their blood sugar. So the results were the decline of their A1C was controlled and dropped down to a normal level, 5.7, I think they said, something like that. But the amazing part was that they stated here that the safety of a ketogenic diet is a good tolerance for type 2 diabetes patients. So there was no side effects. Now remember what I'm just saying here, okay? A high-fat, low-carb diet, a ketogenic diet, is not a fad diet. It's been around for 2,000 years. So obviously it's got to be safe if our ancestors lived by it. And the research is saying it is. This is one of the researches here. So this was in 2016. Here's another one that was in 2018. And it was done by the Diabetes of Metabolic Syndrome. And it was published in the Journal of Diabetes and Metabolic Syndrome. Now, this one here is the ketogenic diet potentially reverses. Now, they like to use words like potentially, could help, things like that. But it reverses type 2 diabetes. So what they're, and this was a case study, and how many people did they have? They had approximately, this particular one, they had like 26 people here, but they were focusing on an elderly woman that had type 2 diabetes for 26 years. She's been on medication for 26 years. She was part of the trial, the clinical trial. So they kind of focused on her and saw the results of her being on this trial. This one here lasted 12 weeks. And so what they found out, that here you have an elderly woman who's been on medication for 26 years. She completely reversed her type 2 diabetes, insulin resistance, and she is no longer on medication. That was in this research. Now, the part that the health professionals - doctors, the majority of them are skeptic because they're not educated. Now, the word ignorant actually is not a bad word, guys. I'm ignorant in things. I may not know what you do for a living, and so that makes me ignorant of what your profession is. It's not a bad word at all. It just says that we're not educated in certain things. And that goes the same with these doctors. They're not educated nutritionally. They are not experts, or they don't specialize in nutrition. The problem is they need to take the time. See, they signed something when they first got their certificate of being a doctor that they're supposed to take care of their clients. Well, if they're giving their clients bad information, which is not true, then they're not taking care of their clients. And so more and more doctors, because there's so much more science coming out about the benefits of a high-fat, low-carb diet and intermittent fasting, treating and reversing the root cause of type 2 diabetes. And so many people are getting off medication because blood tests don't lie, just like I have them. I doc every one of my type 2 diabetic clients, and each, for 3 months, we document their readings just to keep a record of it. And you can't lie. Blood tests don't lie. And so once these doctors open their eyes up and really look at the research and even either do it themselves or put their patients on it, they can't deny it. There are so many doctors out there now that have completely changed their health platform to a more natural way without the medication to treat type 2 diabetes. I've got 3 doctors here who were highly skeptical of this program of high fat, low carb, and intermittent fasting. They were skeptical, but they admit it. I'm going to read you real quick what they said. This is Dr. Stephen Riggs. He's an MD. He's out of Mercy One Hospital in Iowa. I have been in the practice of internal medicine for over 30 years. In all that time, I never took anyone off their insulin or rarely reduced their medication unless they did a gastric bypass surgery or something as drastic. After implementing the ketogenic diet for the past year, so he just started, I daily am seeing patients come off insulin and reverse their type 2s. This is the doctor. This is what he's seeing. Many doctors will see the same thing if they just would try it and do it instead of trying to debunk it when what they're saying is not true. Okay? And so I feel great reduce inflammation and chronic pain, which is some of the comments from his patients. As with most other physicians, my nutritional education, this is him, as with most other physicians, my nutritional education was poor, and I consider it irrelevant. Today, the low-carb approach should be the treatment for type 2 diabetes and associates, which means fatty liver, obesity, and other many disease models. He got right out there and said it. They're not educated. I mean, he said it, and it's true. Here's another doctor out of the University of British Columbia. He personally reversed his own type 2 diabetes. That's what got him on the bandwagon for his clients. And now he currently uses a keto diet with his patients who are insulin resistant, plus any who have inflammatory conditions. I have many success stories. The idea that physicians are not able to safely implement diet change is nonsense. He did it himself, and it worked on himself. There's a good example of somebody who actually said, well, let me research it myself. I'll try it myself. Or let me put some of my clients on it because there's enough science that's saying it's safe, so let's try it and see. Okay, and here's another doctor. One more. I'll give you one more. Kelly Sylvester. She's a PhD, and it just says here she's out of University of I don't know where. And this is true too. Now, yes, you do have to know how to go on their science sites. You do have to know how to navigate through the BS, and you do have to have a little bit of experience on how to find honest and truthful case studies. Any case studies that's a clinical trial that says abstract, that's pretty much, that's good. Those are all good. Double-blind ones, those are all good. But she says there are plenty of studies available showing the benefits of a low-carbohydrate diet, high fat, on disease risk. Now, what she's saying on many, and that's true, the high fat, low carb diet or meals and the intermittent fasting also helps with many disease models. And for me, I'm keeping one that I had 8 years ago dormant right now because of this. I don't want to get a second time, so I'm sticking to this lifestyle for the rest of my life. What she's reaching out to these other health professionals or physicians that she's trying to explain to them, don't make claims about this lifestyle if you don't understand it, or if you don't have done it yourself, or if your patients haven't done it yourself. There is no, you should not be making claims against it. So these doctors are actually going after these other health professionals to at least try it, to show, because for me it's a no-brainer, for my clients, for my type 2 diabetic clients, because like I said, the blood tests tell the truth. And if you're following the ketogenic diet or the high fat low carb meal plan like you're supposed to, like a true ketogenic diet, then it's safe. It's not going to, if there's no side effects, the only side effects you're going to get is if you do it wrong. And that's called the keto flu. And the keto flu doesn't last very, very long, but why not do it right the first time and not even go through the keto flu? Why not just go through it? You have to go through it slowly. You don't want to jump right into it because your body has no idea what you're doing. It's going to freak itself out, okay? So guys, if you know somebody with type 2 diabetes or a fatty liver, you might want to share this video with them. I will be putting a couple of the research case studies in my description section. You can go to my YouTube channel, type in Bill Mabry, subscribe to it. You can also go to my Facebook group page, Fat Loss Made Easy. I'm going to download this video in there also, and you can check out the case studies there. So guys, I hope this is, hope you saw some value in this. Like I said, when I first started, it looks like I'm going to continue doing these updates on type 2 diabetes because it's escalating so fast, and because so many, and these are young people. I mean, this is ridiculous. This type 2 diabetes used to be an adult disease, an older disease. Now, young kids are getting it, and it's because of their lifestyle and because of the processed foods they're eating. They're both parents are working, and they're working long hours to survive in this state, and so they don't have time to cook good healthy meals. So all you got to do is at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, go for a drive and go look at all the fast food places. The lines are all the way out in the streets. Emily and I were just coming home from the gym today. We drove by McDonald's at around 11:30. And there was a line all the way out in the street and down the street trying to get into McDonald's. And we all know that's all processed sick food that's going to cause insulin resistance. So guys, like I said, I appreciate you guys taking the time to watch this. I hope you saw some value in this, and please share the video. You guys have a great day, and we'll see you guys at the next video. Bye.